Okay. Mm. Hey, Angelica. So here we are. This is day 3 of the reading of the Bhagavad Gita, and I am hopefully a little better equipped technically to do this now. And we started this Tuesday. Today's Thursday, so Tuesday we began. This is the book Bhagavad Gita, and Tuesday we began again reading, and we read the introduction, and it was a long read. So this book is written by, hi you guys, this book is written by Stephen Mitchell, and Stephen's an amazing author. I was looking earlier at his the books that he's written, and the books that he's translated. So this is a translation. The Bhagavad Gita is a translation, and he has done a ton. The Tao Te Ching, the Book of Job, selected poetry of Yanada Amichka, the sonnets of Orpus, the lay of the love and death of Cornet Christopher Ryle, letters of a young poet, notebooks of Malty Leard's Prague. I mean, he's really done some amazing stuff. Nonfiction, fiction, The Frog Prince, meetings with the Archangel, poetry's written. So he's really quite an accomplished author, and yeah. So if you'd like to join us on Zoom, I would like that, and the Zoom ID, I'm going to put it on here, and let me see. If some of you would like to join us on Zoom, I'm going to copy the link, and I'm going to go to where is it? And see if I can put this link. Hi, you guys. Hi, Hilda. We're reading the Bhagavad Gita, and I'm just putting a link. You can stay with us on Facebook like this, or you could join us on, if you'd like, you could join us on Zoom. So totally up to you. I'm going to put the link on Zoom, and in a minute, I'm just waiting to get Facebook to open up on my computer. And yeah, let's just see. There we go. It may not going to come for us. It's not funny. I've struggled with this before. And so I'm going to do it like this. The link, I'm going to type it in the comments here right now. It's 839. This is the link for Zoom if you'd like to join us. 839 0413 0413 9899. So that's, I just put that in the comments. If you'd like to join us there, feel free to join us there. And so we're going to read a couple of verses. Today we've now read the introduction, which was really cool, and really went into how what Stephen Mitchell was thinking, and how he researched this, and how he got it pulled it all together. And then after the introduction, there was we read about the translation, and that was a few pages, and it talked about basically how he pulled this all together. So the Bhagavad Gita is is no light text in a way, but what really turned me onto it in the very beginning, I'd heard of it a lot, but I was a big fan of Dr. David Hawkins, and Hawkins had set a scale. He created a scale, a vibrational scale, and using muscle testing and kinesiology, and in this scale he measured things from 0 to 1,000 in the scale, and the 1,000 was what he considered Christ consciousness. And so this book, he said, vibrated, the Bhagavad Gita. So not necessarily this book, but the writing itself, he said, vibrated at about 900 plus 900. So if Christ consciousness is at 1,000, wow, and so many great people over the years have really spoken so highly of this book. Gandhi, who basically single-handedly and without firing a shot freed India from the colonialism of the English, and he just lived by this book, or by the Bhagavad Gita, and it was written in Sanskrit. And so Stephen Mitchell has done his best to translate and put this together for us, and well, I need to share with you that I may struggle with some of the words in the Gita. I may struggle with them, but we're going to go into it, and I'll do the best I can. This is chapter 1 that we're in right now, and we may go further, but we'll just see what chapter 1 has to say. Now, some of the names of the people, the characters, are difficult because they were Indian names that don't kind of roll off my tongue, like Bill or George or David. But I'll do the best I can. Okay. So it starts on chapter 1, Arjuna's despair. Now, Arjuna was a warrior, and it'll describe who he was, but this whole conversation was a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. And Arjuna was obviously an honorable man, and so King Dhritarashtra said, "In the field of righteousness, the field of Kuru, tell me, Sanyaya, what happened when my army and the Pandavas faced each other, eager for battle. The poet Sanjira said, so this is the author, the man who wrote this story. The poet Sanjira said, or the character in this writing, seeing the ranks of Pandava's forces, Prince Dhiraturjava, Duryodhana approached his teacher, Drona, and spoke these words. Look at this great army led by the son of Drapada, your worthy pupil. Many great warriors stand ready to do battle. Many great archers, men as formidable as Brima and Arjuna, Unda, Virita, the mighty Drapa, and Drishatika, and see, I'm having trouble with the names, but I'll do the best I can. Chigatana, the heroic king of Bernes, Purajet, Ketabucha, Sirabala, that bull among men, bold Yudhahamanya. I apologize off the get-go, but here we are, we're reading the Bhagavad Gita. We're going to go for it. We're venturing where few men, maybe are silly enough to go, but here we are. I just feel quite humbled to be doing this. And Alta Munitus, famous for his courage, the son of Sudurpa and the sons of Drapita, all of them great warriors, now most honored of priests. Look at the great men on our side, the leader of our army, you, first of all, then Bhishma, Kurna, the always victorious Kripa, Archvityahama, Virda, and the son of Sadunata, and many other heroes, all of them skilled in war and armed with many kinds of weapons, who are risking their lives for my sake. Limitless is this army of ours, led by Krishna, but their army, led by Brahma, is limited. Wherever the battle moves, all of you must stand firm and make sure that Krishna is well protected. Then Bhishma, the aged grandfather of the Gurus, roared his lion's roar. Hi, you guys. So we're reading the Bhagavad Gita. I hope you know where we are. It's where we are. Roared his lion's roar and blew a powerful blast in his conch horn. And Duryodhana's heart leapt with joy. Immediately, all the conches blared, and the kettle drums, cymbals, trumpets, and drums, a deafening clamor, standing in their great chariot yoked with white horses. Krishna and Arjuna blew their crystalline conches. Krishna blew the conch called one from the demon Pachajama. Arjuna blew God-given ferocious wolf-bellied Bhima, blew the mighty conch called the King Prata, and Prince Yanahasa blew unending victory. Naka and his twins, Sudhira, blew great noise and jeweled bracelet. The king of Bernas, that superior archer, the great warrior Siddhartha and Dishkatha, Ritra, the unconquerable. Look, they're naming all of these warriors. So, hi, Sherry. We're reading the Bhagavad Gita, hon. We're reading the Bhagavad Gita, and we're in the very first chapter. We've read the introduction, and we've read his conversation about how he was able to put this together. And now we're in the very first chapter, and there's a lot of names of a lot of warriors on the field. And as you know, many of you, that this is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. We're not into that part of it yet, but we're in the very first chapter. Shatka and Drapa's sons, the huge army, Abrahama, all of them, O king, blew their conches at once. The uproar tore through the hearts of Dhritarashtra's men and echoed throughout heaven and earth. Then Arjuna, looking at the battle ranks of Dhritarashtra's men, raised his bow as the weapons were about to clash and said to Krishna, "Drive my chariot and stop between the two armies so that I can see these warriors whom I'm about to fight, drawn up and eager for battle. I want to look at the men gathered here, ready to do battle service for Dhritarashtra's evil-minded son." And it says, let's see if I can get that right. I don't know if you guys can see the book, but after Arjuna had spoken, Krishna drove the splendid chariot and brought it to a halt midway between the two armies. Facing Bhishma, Drona, and the other great kings, he said, "Look, Arjuna, from here you can see all the Gurus who have gathered to do battle." Arjuna saw them standing there. Hi, you guys. Welcome. Those of you that are on Facebook watching, and I can't really see you all because I just see those who have come to Battling Beyond's page. I know there'll be people on my personal page as well. And Arjuna saw them standing there: fathers, grandfathers, teachers, uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, fathers-in-law, and friends, kinsmen on both sides, each side arrayed against the other. In despair, overwhelmed with pity, he said, "As I see my own kinsmen gathered here, eager to fight, my legs weaken, my mouth dries, my body trembles, my hair stands on end, my skin burns, the bow Gandiva drops from my hand. The bow Gandiva drops from my hand. I am beside myself, my mind reels. I see evil omens, Krishna. No good can come from killing my own kinsmen in battle. I have no desire for victory. I have no desire for victory or for the pleasures of kinship." There we go. What good is kingship? What good is kingship or happiness or life itself when those for whose sake we desire them, teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other kinsmen, stand here in battle ranks, ready to give up their fortunes and their lives? Though they want to kill me, I have no desire to kill them, not even for the kinship of the three worlds, not even for the kingship of the three worlds, let alone for that of the earth. What joy would we have in killing Dhritarashtra's men? Evil will cling to us if we kill them, even though they are the aggressors. It would be unworthy of us to kill our own kinsmen. How could we be happy if we did? Because their minds are overpowered by greed, they see no harm in destroying the family, no crime in treachery to friends. But we should know better, Krishna. Clearly seeing the harm caused by the destruction of the family, we should turn back from this evil. When the family is destroyed, the ancient laws of family duty cease. When law ceases, lawlessness overwhelms the family. When lawlessness overwhelms the women of the family, they become corrupted. When women are corrupted, the intermixing of castes is the inevitable results. Intermixture of caste drags down to the hell both those who destroy the family and the family itself. The spirits of the ancestors fall, deprived of their offerings of rice and water. Such are the evils caused by those who destroy the family. Because the intermixture of castes, caste duties are obliterated, and the permanent duties of the family as well. So I'm reading, for those of you that don't know, I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita. It's an old text, an old beautiful text, and it speaks of a time in India that maybe somewhat still exists. We have often heard, Krishna, that men whose families' duties have been obliterated must live in hell forever. Alas, we are about to commit a great evil by killing our own kinsmen. Hey Mel, reading the Bhagavad Gita, buddy. By killing our own kinsmen, because of our greed for the pleasures of kingship. It would be better if Dharishna's men killed me in battle, unarmed and unresisting. Having spoken these words, Arjuna sank down in the chariot and dropped his arrows. Ah, somebody's here. Uh-huh. Yes. Hey, you're here. Have you been watching? Have you? Okay. Well, thanks for dropping by. Having spoken these words, Arjuna sank down into the chariot and dropped his arrows and bow, his mind heavy with grief. So there's the beginning of the story. Arjuna is with his army, and he's going to come against this great army, and many of the men that are in the army he knows on both sides, of course, and he's having huge second thoughts. He's like, what are we doing? This is crazy. And that's the beginning. And he's standing in the middle of this battlefield, his army on one side and his enemy's army on the other. And he's having second thoughts. And this is the beginning of the story. It sets the stage for what's about to come, and which is in chapter 2. And so I think I'll read on a little bit into chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita. And for, if this is your first time through this book, consider that you may read this book 50 times. This is not a book that you read and go, oh, that's nice. Well, that was pleasant. This is a text. There's much to be learned in this book, and as you'll see as we go. I don't know if you can see how I've got this set up, and maybe there we go. As Arjuna sat there, overwhelmed with pity, desperate, tears streaming from his eyes, Krishna spoke these words to him. Why this timidity, Arjuna, at a time of crisis? It is unworthy of a noble mind. It is shameful and does not lead to heaven. This cowardness is beneath you, Arjuna. Do not give in to it. Shake off your weakness. Stand up, more like a man. Arjuna said. When the battle begins, how can I shoot arrows through? Arjuna said, when the battle begins, how can I shoot arrows through Bhishma and Drama, who deserve my reverence? These are men he looked up to. It would be better to spend the rest of my life as a pauper, begging for food, than to kill these honored teachers. If I killed them, all my earthly pleasures would be smeared with blood. And we do not know which is worse, winning this battle or losing it, since if we kill Dharishna's men, we will not, we will not wish to remain alive. I am weighed down by pity. Krishna, my mind is utterly confused. Tell me where my duty lies, which path I should take. I am your pupil. I beg you for your instruction, for I cannot imagine how any victory, even if I were to gain the kingship of the whole earth, or of all the gods in heaven, would drive away this grief that is withering my senses. Having spoken this to Krishna, Arjuna said, I will not fight, and fell silent. As Arjuna sat there, downcast between the two armies, Krishna smiled at him, then spoke these words. So here's the beginning of the teachings. The Blessed Lord said, although you mean well, Arjuna, your sorrow is sheer delusion. Wise men do not grieve for the dead or for the living. Neither was there a time when I did not exist, or you, or these kings, nor will there come a time when they cease to be. Just as in this body, the self passes through childhood, youth, and old age, so after death it passes through another body. Physical sensations, cold and heat, pleasures and pain, are transient. They come and go. So bear them patiently, Arjuna. Only the man who is unmoved by any senses, the wise man, indifferent to pleasure, to pain, is fit of becoming deathless. No being, non-being, it says, non-being can never be being. Non-being can never be. Being can never not be. Both these statements are obvious to those who have seen the truth. So for those of you that just joined us, we're reading the Bhagavad Gita. We've just gotten started. We're just in the early stages of it. So welcome. We're in chapter 2, actually. Non-being can never be. Being can never not be. Both these statements are obvious to those who have seen the truth. The presence that pervades the universe is imperishable, unchanging, beyond both is and is not. How could it ever vanish? These bodies come to an end, but that vast embodied self is ageless, fathomless, eternal. Therefore, you must fight, Arjuna. If you think that this self can kill or think that it can be killed, you do not well understand reality's subtle ways. It never was born. Coming to be, it will never not be. Birthless, premortal, it does not die when the body dies. Knowing that it is eternal, unborn, beyond destruction, how could you ever kill? And whom could you kill, Arjuna? Just as you throw out used clothes and put on other clothes as new ones, the self discards its used bodies and puts on others that are new. The sharpest sword will not pierce it. The hottest flame will not singe it. Water will not make it moist. Wind will not cause it to wither. It cannot be pierced or singed, moistened or withered. It is vast, perfect, and all-pervading, calm, immovable, and timeless. It is called the inconceivable, the unmanifest, the unchanging. If you understand it in this way, you have no reason for your sorrow. Even if you think that the self is perpetually born and perpetually dies, even then, Arjuna, you have no reason for your sorrow. Death is certain for the born. For the dead, rebirth is certain. Since both cannot be avoided, you have no reason for your sorrow. Before birth, beings are unmanifest. Hey, Toner, thanks for joining us, buddy. Jason, can you hear me okay? Good. So, Mr. Toner, we're reading the Bhagavad Gita. I suggest you get a copy. This is the book written by Stephen Mitchell, and it's an amazing text. And I feel like I've I ventured into. It's a beautiful book. We'll read it for a bit, but I feel like we really ventured into something that's really something hard to describe. Okay, and if you read the the introduction, you'll get to understand where the book came from and what a beautiful text it is, and how it's a centerpiece of literally a centerpiece of Hindu teaching, but it is more than that. It is just so much more than that. So, okay, we're on the page 51, and is that right? Yeah, we're on page 51. Before birth, beings are unmanifest. Between birth and death, they're manifest. At death, unmanifest again. What cause for grief in all this? Some person perceive it directly, in all its awesomeness. Others speak of it with wonder. Others hear of it and never know it. This self, who dwells in the body, is inviolable forever. Therefore, you have no cause to grieve for any being, Arjuna. Know what your duty is, and do it without hesitation. For a warrior, there is nothing better than a battle that duty enjoys. Blessed are warriors who are given the chance of a battle like this, which calls them to do what is right and opens the gates of heaven. But if you refuse the call to this righteous war, and shrink from what duty and honor dictate, you will bring down ruin on your head. So he's given Arjuna a bit of a talking to. This is Krishna speaking to Arjuna in the middle of the battlefield. It's beautiful. Decent men for all time will talk about your disgrace. And disgrace for a man of honor is a fate far worse than death. These great heroes will think that fear has driven you from battle. All those who once esteemed you will think of you with contempt. And your enemies will sneer and mock you. The mighty Arjuna, that brave man, he shrank from the field like a dog. What deeper shame could there be? What deeper shame could there be? I have trouble finding, getting this kind of under the camera, but hopefully you can see the words. If you are killed, you gain heaven, triumph, and you gain the earth. Therefore stand up, Arjuna, steady your mind to fight. Indifference to gain or loss, to defeat or victory. Prepare yourself for the battle and do not succumb to sin. Hey, Mary Rogers, we're just reading the Bhagavad Gita. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. Many people haven't, but it's an amazing text that has a very high vibration text. And we're in a conversation in the book between Krishna and Arjuna, the warrior. It's I call it Hindu mythology, but it's more than that. It's a beautiful, beautiful teaching book. This is philosophy's wisdom. Now hear the wisdom of yoga. Armed with this understanding, you will shatter your karmic bonds. Armed with this understanding, you will shatter your karmic bonds. On this path, no effort is wasted. No gain is ever reversed. Even a little of this practice will shelter you from great sorrow. We'll just try that again. On this path, no effort is wasted. I think he's talking about the path of shattering karmic bonds. No effort is wasted. No gain is ever reversed. Even a little of this practice will shelter you from great sorrow. Resolute understanding is single-pointed, Arjuna. But the thoughts of the resolute are many-branched and endless. Resolute understanding is single-pointed, Arjuna, but the thoughts of the resolute are many-branched and endless. Foolish men talk of religion in cheap, sentimental sentences, leaning on the scriptures. God speaks here and speaks here alone. Driven by desire for pleasure and power, caught up in ritual, they strive to gain heaven, but rebirth is the only result of their striving. They are lured by their own desires, besotten by the scriptures. Words their mind have not been made clear. Their minds have not been made clear by the practice of meditation. The scriptures dwell in duality, but beyond all opposite, Arjuna, anchored in the real and free, and from all thoughts of wealth and comfort. As unnecessary as a well is to a village on the banks of a river, so unnecessary are all scriptures to someone who has seen the truth. So when we experience the truth, when we experience God, when we experience our oneness, we do not need scriptures. You have a right to your actions, but never to your actions' fruits. Act for the action's sake, but do not be attached to inaction. Self-possessed, resolute, act without any thoughts of results, open to succeed or failure. This is equanimity in yoga. Action is far inferior to the yoga of insight, Arjuna. Action is far inferior to the yoga of insight, Arjuna. Pitiful are those who, acting, are distracted by their actions' fruits. The wise man lets go of all results, whether good or bad, and is focused on the action alone. Yoga is skill in actions. The wise man, whose insight is firm, relinquishes the fruits of action. The wise man whose insights are firm relinquishes the fruits of action, is freed from the bondage of rebirth, and attains the place beyond sorrow. When your understanding has passed beyond the thicket of delusions, there's nothing you need to learn from even the most sacred scripture. Yeah, I think I'll finish this chapter. Here we go. Indifference to scripture, your mind stands by itself, unmoving, absorbed in deep meditation. This is the essence of yoga. Arjuna said, "How would you describe a man whose wisdom is steadfast, Krishna? How does the wise man speak? How does he sit and stand and walk?" The Blessed Lord said, "When a man gives up all desires, that emerges from the mind. When a man gives up all desires that emerge from the mind and rests contented in the self, by the self, he is called a man of firm wisdom, surrendering desires." Yes. He whose mind is untroubled by any misfortune, whose craving for pleasure has disappeared, who is free from greed, fear, and anger, who is unattached to all things, who neither grieves nor rejoices, if good or bad things happen, that man is a man of firm wisdom. Having drawn back all his senses from the objects of sense, it is a tortoise as a tortoise drawn back into its shell. That man is a man of firm wisdom. Welcome, you guys. Sense objects fade for the abstinent, yet the craving of them continues. But even the craving vanishes for someone who has seen the truth. At first, although he continually tries to subdue them, the turbulent senses tear at his mind and violently carry it away. Oh, don't we know about that? Restraining the senses, discipline, he should focus his whole mind on me. When the senses are in his control, the man is a man of firm wisdom. Hi, Ben, Doug. We're reading the Bhagavad Gita. And yeah, there we are. And we're on page 58. This is Stephen Mitchell's translation of the Bhagavad Gita. And, we're going to read this till we get through it. Not today. We're just going to finish this chapter, which is we're getting close on. And it's not a book to be rushed through. This first chapter and second chapter that we've read today, I suggest you read it again a couple of times before we go into the next chapter tomorrow. There's a lot in here. So we're on page 58. If a man keeps dwelling on sense objects, attachment to them arises. From attachment, a desire flares up. From desire, anger is born. From anger, delusion follows, or confusion follows, sorry. From anger, confusion follows. From confusion, weakness of memory. Weak memory, weak understanding. Weak understanding, ruin. But the man who is self-controlled, who meets the object of the senses with neither craving nor aversion, will attain serenity at last. In serenity, all his sorrows disappear at once, forever. When his heart has become serene, his understanding is steadfast. The undisciplined have no wisdom, no one-pointed concentration. With no concentration, no peace. With no peace, where can joy be? When the mind constantly runs after the wandering senses, it drives away wisdom, like the wind blowing the ship off course. And so, Arjuna, when someone is able to withdraw his senses from every object of sensation, that man is a man of firm wisdom. In the night of all beings, the wise man sees only the radiance of the self. But the sense world where all beings wake, for him is as dark as night. Hey, James Lafford. We're reading the Bhagavad Gita, the beautiful text. I suggest you get a copy, and it's a book to keep for a lifetime. It's not a one and done. It's a book for a lifetime. In the night of all beings, the wise man seeing all the radiance of the self, but the sense world where all beings wake, for him is the darkest night. The man whom desires enter as rivers flow into the sea, filled yet always unmoving. The man whom desires enter as rivers flow into the sea, filled yet always unmoving. That man finds perfect peace. Abandoning all desires, acting without craving, free from all thoughts of I and mine, that man finds inner peace. This is the divine state, Arjuna, absorbed in it everywhere, always, even in the moment of death, he vanishes into God's bliss. So there we go. That's the reading for today. And like I said, this is it. I suggest we go through it a few times. I'm going to read it the once, and he's pointing towards peace and wisdom, bliss. Beautifully done. Text that was written pre, the birth of Christ. And if you haven't got the copy, get the copy and read the introduction, and so catch up, read the introduction, and read the. He has a whole description about how he created the translation. So read all of that, and then you'll be caught up a bit. So next tomorrow. What day is tomorrow? What day is today? Today's Thursday, isn't it? So we read Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think we're going to skip till next Tuesday. And we'll do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday again next week. So, and I'll invite more people to join us and maybe make a few comments about this over the weekend so that we can catch up.
Or did that apply to me today?
Pardon me?
The content sure applied to me.
Yes. Yes, all of us. Yes.
All of us, yes.
Yeah. We're all, but it's interesting for, some of us, the addict and the alcoholic, living in desire can kill us, literally, but there's many kinds of deaths, as we'll see as we go through this book. Many of us are in a body, but still not really here. And so we haven't really lived. It may not be a death, but it hasn't been a life. So for those of you that joined us on Facebook, we've just finished for today. We read the first few chapters, first two chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we read about how he created this, and about the translations. And the day before we read the introduction. All great reads. I suggest you catch up with us. And next Tuesday, we're going to take a little break. Next Tuesday, we'll continue with a couple more chapters. And so my plan was to read Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so that's what we'll do. Thank you, Jason, for being here, and thank you for everyone else who joined us. And if you happen to be online, go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. I love that. And that's it. Invite your friends, and we'll finish the Bhagavad Gita over. Really, it might take us October and all of November to finish this, because it's there's some great material here. It's great stuff. Okay, love you guys lots. Yeah, love you, bro. Talk to you soon.